Hey there. Let's settle in for a moment and think about adventure. What makes an adventure feel truly epic?
Hmm.
You know that feeling. The one where you know you're part of something ancient and huge, something that's going to be sung about for generations. Is that feeling reserved only for the moments you're standing toe-to-toe with a world-eating dragon? Or when the fate of entire kingdoms hangs in the balance?
Right. Or is it something else?
Or can that deep, resonant sense of purpose begin right at the very start? Can it be woven into the story from the first session, even when your character is still figuring out which end of the sword is the pointy one and hasn't seen anything scarier than, like, an angry badger?
That's such a great place to start because there's this really pervasive idea in tabletop RPGs, especially Dungeons & Dragons, a kind of stubborn myth that low-level play is just, well, a necessary hurdle.
Yeah, the grind.
It's the pest control phase, as it's sometimes, derisively called. You're clearing out minor threats, doing small favors for local villagers, essentially just marking time until your character earns enough experience, gains enough power and hit points and spells to handle what's considered real or epic level threats.
Right. It's like the early levels are just the waiting room, the tutorial you have to slog through before the main event. You're just surviving until you're powerful enough for the story to really matter on a grand scale. But that perspective feels so limiting.
It really does.
It implies that stakes only count if they're measured in millions of lives or continents saved. Surely the stakes can feel huge to the characters themselves, regardless of their current power level.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating here is challenging that very idea. The article we're diving into today, Epic Quest Ideas for Low-Level D&D Characters That Feel Legendary, from LitRPG Reads, written by Ajay Patel, directly confronts this pest control myth. Ajay makes a compelling case that you absolutely can craft quests for characters at levels 1, 2, 3, even 4 and 5 that are deeply emotionally impactful, feel incredibly significant, and have that unmistakable spark of legendary scope right from the very first dice roll.
Okay, let's really unpack this. The mission for this deep dive isn't just to summarize the article, but to dig into the core strategies it presents and figure out how DMs can wield this toolkit.
Yeah.
It's also about helping players understand that their actions matter immensely, even early on. It's about showing how to focus on the stakes, the emotion, and the agency of the player characters, rather than just waiting for them to level up their raw power.
Precisely. It calls for a shift in how we define epic within this low-level context. The article isn't suggesting you throw a Tarrasque at a party of first-level characters. That would be deadly. Not epic in the narrative sense we're discussing.
Well, that's true.
Exactly. Instead, true epicness here is a sensation. It's about the feeling of scope, the sense of purpose, and the realization of interconnectedness. It's the deep intuition that you, as a character, are part of something much, much larger than yourselves, even if your immediate task is something as seemingly small as retrieving a lost family heirloom.
That resonance is key. Think about the myths and legends we love. So many of them start with incredibly humble origins, don't they?
Farm boy finds a sword.
A simple farm boy, a village priestess, a lone traveler finding something strange or receiving a cryptic message. These are small, local moments that, because of how they are framed and the context they are placed in, spiral outwards into world-altering sagas.
Yeah.
The article captures this beautifully by saying, the soul of a campaign isn't shackled to hit points or spell slots.
No.
The narrative weight, the emotional core, that's what makes a story feel epic, and that's available at any level.
This raises an important question for the DM, though. How do you create that alchemy of scale and consequence with limited tools? How do you take a task that mechanically might seem minor and make it feel monumental?
Right, the how.
The article suggests it's all in the framing. By weaving that seemingly small task, retrieving that heirloom, clearing those goblins into bigger mysteries, personal backstories, or hints of distant, powerful threats, you make it loom large in the minds and hearts of the players.
So stopping that goblin warband threatening the village isn't just about preventing damage or saving some NPCs. It's about protecting the future of that specific community, its unique history, its irreplaceable people, its hopes for tomorrow.
Exactly.
The article really stresses making every action, every sword swing or clever word feel like it echoes beyond the immediate mechanical effect. That single sword swing might defend a vulnerable NPC who holds a crucial secret nobody suspects.
Or that clever word might decipher a cryptic clue that unravels the first thread of a much larger, terrifying conspiracy that stretches far beyond the village borders.
Yeah.
You just don't know yet.
That understanding of the wider impact is crucial for players feeling like their actions matter. And you don't need high-level abilities for your actions to have significant consequences. Saving that village from goblins can hold just as much gravitas as stopping a demonic incursion, provided you anchor the threat deeply in the lives of the specific people the party has come to care about and make clear what they stand to lose.
It's the personal connection that elevates the stakes. Definitely.
The source gives these wonderful examples of simple seeds for grand adventure. A lost heirloom, a whispered prophecy, a villager's play. It's not the object or the message itself that's epic initially. It's what it represents and where it leads.
Right. Is the lost heirloom merely a family trinket, or is it an ancient family relic tied to a forgotten pact made centuries ago? That changes everything.
Is the whispered prophecy just the ravings of a madman? Or does it contain fragmented details that mysteriously, chillingly seem to describe a character by a unique feature or an item they possess?
Exactly. And this brings us back to the fundamental principle IJ emphasizes. Even at level 1, characters aren't just blank slates or potential heroes waiting to level up. They're already chosen of fate in a narrative sense, wielders of purpose, the spark at the center of the legend that is just beginning.
They are heroes indeed from the moment they choose to help, to stand up, to investigate, not just in potential because they have a certain number on their character sheet.
Their actions make them heroes, and those actions can be legendary from the outset. It's a powerful way to think about it.
So let's really dig into what makes a quest feel epic, truly resonate with players, beyond just the challenge rating or the treasure hoard. The article provides a fantastic breakdown of the core elements needed to inject that feeling into low-level play.
Yes, it shifts the focus entirely from mechanical difficulty to narrative depth. The first and arguably most critical element is emotional stakes.
Ah, yes, the heart of it.
This is the true bedrock of an epic story, especially at lower levels. The danger isn't primarily measured in damage dice or hit points lost. It's measured in what could be lost on a personal emotional level.
Like trust or hope.
We're talking about the potential loss of trust, the erosion of history, the destruction of a community's future, or the suffering of someone the characters have come to care about. Emotional investment, as the article points out, is the gravity that holds the story together. It's what makes players lean in, what makes their decisions weigh heavily.
Protecting something irreplaceable, that could be a sacred relic, sure, but it's far more impactful at low levels if it's the life of a vulnerable NPC who offered the party shelter when they were strangers, or maybe safeguarding a hidden location vital to a small, peaceful community.
Definitely. Or unraveling an ancient enigma. It might start with something as simple as deciphering a single crumbling inscription found in a dusty corner of the local ruins, but the weight comes from understanding what that secret means if it falls into the wrong hands, or if it remains buried forever.
Standing against forces too big to understand, at level 1, you're not fighting a demon lord, obviously. But perhaps you encounter the subtle, unsettling effects of their distant influence, strange nightmares afflicting townsfolk, minor localized blights, or cultists performing baffling, seemingly ineffective rituals that hint at a horrifying greater purpose.
That awareness of consequences leads directly into the next key element, long-term impact. This is where those seemingly small early decisions gain incredible power. A choice made at level 2, perhaps deciding to show mercy to a desperate bandit leader, or choosing which of two equally distressed families to help during a crisis, might have unforeseen consequences that ripple out.
Oh, yeah.
And influence the campaign all the way to its potential finale many levels later. The article highlights how these early decisions can turn small missions into saga prologues. Players might not fully grasp the significance at the time, but their seemingly minor choices plant seeds of world-altering change that will sprout later.
Oh, I love that. It gives the player a sense that their early agency wasn't just about solving the immediate problem, but about genuinely shaping the path of the campaign world itself.
Exactly.
Imagine a low-level party deciding not to interfere in a local dispute because it seems too risky, only to discover 10 levels down the line that the unresolved conflict allowed a major villain to gain a foothold in the region. Those early, sometimes difficult or ambiguous choices resonate so much more than just succeeding or failing a skill check.
And speaking of difficult choices, the third core element is profound dilemmas. The most resonant quests, regardless of level, place characters in the middle of truly hard choices, often with no clearly right answer.
The gray areas.
Right. A powerful artifact that seems like the only way to save someone they care about might come with a terrible cost, perhaps corrupting the wielder. A victory against a local tyrant might require sacrificing something vital, their own reputation, the safety of their new allies, or a cherished possession.
Ugh, those are the worst. I mean, the best moments.
Yeah, they are. These are the moments that make players stop, argue amongst themselves, truly engage with the scenario on a deep level, and feel the immense import of their decisions. It's about trade-offs, sacrifice, and navigating moral gray areas.
It's not just about overcoming a mechanical challenge, it's about navigating these ethical and emotional landscapes. The article then provides a fantastic list of specific features that can make low-level quests feel epic. Let's explore how these manifest when characters are just starting out.
Okay, yeah. One powerful one is prophecies that mention one or more party members. At low levels, this isn't usually delivered by a grand oracle in a mountaintop temple.
No booming voice from the heavens.
Not usually. It could be a tattered, ancient scroll found tucked away in the local library's forgotten section, containing verses that eerily describe a character's appearance or a unique item they carry.
Or like the rambling words of a seemingly mad hermit on the edge of town whose pronouncements suddenly become chillingly specific to one of the PCs.
Exactly. Or even a coded message delivered unknowingly by a bird or found etched into an old tree. The key is that it feels ancient, mysterious, and deeply specific to them, immediately elevating their personal journey into something fated.
That immediately tells the player, my character isn't just a random adventurer, I'm important to some larger story. How about discovering or becoming guardians of an ancient secret?
Right. At low levels, this secret isn't likely the location of a world-ending weapon. Maybe it's a hidden location beneath the starting village that contains forgotten lore about the area's founding or a pact made long ago.
Or it could be protecting a seemingly ordinary person who doesn't even realize they are the key to ancient knowledge, perhaps through their bloodline or a mark they carry.
It could be uncovering the true hidden history of a landmark everyone takes for granted, like an old bridge or a town square fountain. And then there's a hidden royal or divine heritage entwined with one or more characters.
The classic. But how does it work early on?
At low levels, this isn't about suddenly being crowned king. It might be revealed by a unique birthmark matching an ancient symbol, a strange dream featuring a divine being or royal ancestor, a mysterious letter from an unknown relative hinting at a noble or powerful lineage.
Or even possessing a simple, unassuming item that is actually a lesser regalia or symbol of their true heritage.
Yeah, exactly. Something small that hints at something huge.
That immediately makes the character's personal story feel mythic, and facing moral quandaries with no easy solution. OJ stresses this is possible at any level.
Totally. At low levels, this could be heartbreakingly simple yet impactful. A fire breaks out, you have time to save one family trapped inside, but not both.
Oh, man.
Or you must choose between upholding a local law by apprehending a desperate thief who stole medicine for their sick child, or letting them go and facing the wrath of the town guard yourself. These difficult choices require players to confront their values.
Yeah, no easy win there.
Or consider becoming pawns or champions in a power struggle among rival gods or spirits. At low levels, this isn't direct intervention by deities. It might manifest as strange dreams that feel like conflicting pleas or demands from unseen entities.
Like minor blessings or curses that mysteriously affect the party after certain actions.
Or getting caught in the middle of demands made by local cults dedicated to lesser spirits or elemental forces that are vying for influence over the land or its people.
The article also lists intervening in a conflict whose outcome shapes a region's fate. This could be a local village dispute that appears minor on the surface, perhaps a long-standing feud between two families over land.
But digging deeper, the PCs discover that this land is tied to ancient pacts, hidden resources, or even a prophecy, meaning resolving or failing to resolve this local squabble has far-reaching consequences for the entire region.
Or uncovering the lost history of a town or ancient site. This involves detective work at a local scale, finding old journals in a dusty attic.
Deciphering crumbling inscriptions on a monument nobody else notices.
Or perhaps tracking down the oldest, most eccentric residents who remember details others have long forgotten, piecing together a forgotten narrative that impacts the present.
I really like the idea of witnessing omens or strange phenomena that only they can interpret.
Yeah, why only them?
Well, unexplained animal behavior, a flock of birds suddenly falling silent or flying away from a specific area right before a major event. Weird, localized weather changes seemingly tied to their actions or discoveries, celestial events, an unusual alignment of stars, or a strange comet appearing in the sky right as they achieve a goal.
Maybe their background gives them unique insight, they carry an item that reacts, or they have a connection to a specific deity or spirit. That makes it personal.
Then there's being entrusted with a relic of forgotten importance. At low levels, this relic might seem unassuming. It could be dull stone that reacts strangely to certain locations or threats.
An old key that doesn't fit any known lock but feels heavy with history.
Or a simple piece of jewelry that glows faintly when a specific type of danger is near. Its importance comes from its past, not its present power.
And saving innocents whose survival changes the course of larger events. This is classic epic storytelling. It's not just saving generic villagers.
No, it's saving the specific child who unknowingly carries a crucial secret encoded in a song or a drawing, the refugee who is a key witness to a major villain's early atrocities, or the elderly person whose obscure knowledge of local history is suddenly vital to preventing a disaster.
The list continues with challenging local taboos or cursed traditions with long-standing impact.
Right. At low levels, the immediate risks are social or physical, being ostracized, facing suspicion from the town guard, perhaps minor curses befalling them. But the long-term consequences, breaking a curse that has plagued the town for generations.
Or perhaps unintentionally unleashing something worse by breaking an ancient necessary pact. Oops.
Exactly. Risk versus reward. Being tangled in the prophecy's fulfillment or shattering of an old faith. A local priest or wise person might interpret something the PCs did, perhaps even by accident, as fulfilling or breaking a minor, localized prophecy tied to their community's faith.
Did rescuing that specific family unintentionally fulfill a sign foretelling a coming age? It makes their actions feel fated, for better or worse.
Or receiving cryptic visions that foreshadow major future events. These visions don't have to be literal. They could be symbolic, fragmented, dreamlike, hinting at future challenges or antagonists, while perhaps playing on the character's personal fears or past traumas.
Creates a sense of foreboding and connection to the future. What about facing adversaries who are agents of much larger forces?
Yeah, the bandits they fight on the road aren't just random highwaymen. They're leaders' answers to a shadowy figure miles away. The cultists performing a bizarre ritual in a cave aren't just crazy locals. They are pawns of something ancient and terrible.
Their ritual, the first weakest anchor of its power in this world? Creepy.
And inadvertently exposing or protecting people with secret destinies. The quiet farmer the party helps isn't just a farmer. They are the last descendant of a fallen noble house.
The seemingly strange child the party protects has wild, innate magic that powerful entities seek to control. The PC's simple act has thrust them into a much larger drama.
How about having the party's every decision watched or judged by mysterious powers?
Oh, that creates a palpable atmosphere of being on a stage. Unseen eyes watching from the woods, strange symbols appearing where they've been.
Minor blessings or curses that seem to occur out of nowhere after significant choices, a feeling that the world is reacting to their presence and actions.
Finally, becoming the only hope against a calamity that no one else recognizes.
Like a slow, creeping blight affecting the forest that only the PCs notice or are concerned about. Or a subtle manipulation of the town's leadership that everyone else dismisses as normal politics, but the PC's sense is sinister.
Something building, something that only the PC's unique perspective, background, or circumstance allows them to recognize before it's too late. Wow, that is a powerful and comprehensive list.
It really is.
It really drives home the point that the epic isn't just about the raw numbers, the damage dealt, the gold earned. It's in the layered meanings, the emotional weight, the personal connections, and the narrative hooks you weave in.
Absolutely. You tie the fate of something precious, be it a community, a person, a lineage, or even just a sliver of the world's balance, to the PC's actions, and suddenly their level 1 exploits feel undeniably legendary.
Building on that, the article dedicates a section to imagining world-shaping events for local heroes. It highlights that the grandest tales often have their genesis in the smallest places.
Yeah, your starting Hamlet might not look like the center of the universe, but with the right framing, it absolutely can be.
Exactly. The source gives concrete examples of how local quests can have those world-shaping ripples. Let's delve into how a DM might present these at low levels to maximize that epic feel.
Okay. Take Yam. Stopping a cult devoted to a forgotten god whose awakening could devastate the region. At levels 1 to 3, the PCs aren't confronting the forgotten god itself. They are disrupting its initial, localized manifestations.
So what does that look like?
The cultists might just be stealing strange items from around town, kidnapping isolated individuals for bizarre rituals, or vandalizing ancient holy sites with unsettling symbols. But as the PCs investigate these seemingly minor crimes, they uncover clues, strange symbols they need help interpreting, fragments of ancient texts, unsettling rumors.
That reveal the cult's true, terrifying goal is far beyond mere petty crime, and that their actions, small as they are the first steps in a world-threatening summoning ritual.
Exactly. The PCs aren't powerful enough to stop the god, but they are perfectly positioned to stop the initial preparations that nobody else even recognizes as significant.
Or how about protecting a royal courier bearing secret negotiations? This starts as a quintessential low-level escort mission. Get the person with the important satchel from point A to point B safely.
Classic.
The immediate challenge might be highway bandits, but the epicness comes from the contents of that satchel. That document, be it a treaty, intelligence on an enemy nation, or proof of a conspiracy, is world-changing.
So the danger isn't just the bandits. It's powerful factions who know what's in the satchel and want it intercepted at all costs. The PCs are suddenly accidental players in global politics.
And consider uncovering the tomb of a minor saint whose visions shape prophecy. It sounds like a standard low-level dungeon crawl. There are reports of ghouls or strange lights around an old local crypt. Clearing it out seems like a simple monster hunt.
But upon finding the saint's remains, a hidden diary or a relic within, one of the PCs experiences a sudden, vivid, but cryptic vision. A piece of prophecy, perhaps previously thought lost, or just a local folktale that suddenly links the saint's past to their own future, or a looming threat nobody saw coming.
Ooh, that's a great way to connect a standard trope to the epic. Their simple ghoul hunt has put them on the path of destiny. Another example from the source. Defending a sacred grove whose destruction would unbalance the seasons.
Okay, how does that start small?
This could begin with conflict against local loggers or farmers just trying to make a living, encroaching on protected land. Or perhaps a strange blight is causing the trees to die unnaturally. The PCs initially see a local problem.
But interaction with druids, nature spirits, or finding ancient markers reveals this small grove is cosmically significant, a linchpin in the balance of the natural world, and its destruction would lead to widespread, unnatural seasons or famine. Their actions to protect this small patch of woods become vital to regional stability.
Or rescuing kidnapped villagers whose survival ensures a future uprising. The villagers seem ordinary, taken by bandits or cultists. A rescue mission feels straightforward.
But the twist is that one or more of these seemingly ordinary people is secretly a leader in exile, a key witness to a past atrocity, or holds crucial knowledge needed to rally a resistance against a powerful oppressive force.
Saving them isn't just a humanitarian effort, it's preserving the literal seeds of a rebellion, putting the PCs on the side of future freedom fighters.
Interrupting a forbidden ritual, anchoring a demon's influence. The ritual looks small and localized, maybe cultists sacrificing livestock in a hidden cave, or desecrating a local shrine.
But the PCs find notes, observe unsettling phenomena, or are told by a frightened local that this small ritual is anchoring a minor demon's influence to the area, allowing its power to slowly seep into the world, causing localized madness, minor corruptions, or inspiring fear.
Stopping the small ritual prevents the first step of a much larger planar invasion. Huge consequences from a small intervention.
And recovering relics key to crowning the rightful ruler. A quest that starts as finding a lost family heirloom for a minor noble or even a commoner turns out to be a lesser regalia, a symbol of legitimacy needed to challenge a usurper king or prove a claim to a contested throne.
The PC's simple fetch quest has implications for the entire kingdom's succession. Wild.
Exposing a spy who is sabotaging magical defenses. This might begin as a simple task for the town guard. Someone is messing with the wards on the watchtower, or supplies are mysteriously disappearing.
The spy seems minor, but they are tied to a powerful enemy nation, a shadowy guild, or a major villain. Their sabotage part of a larger plan to weaken the region for an invasion or takeover.
Saving the heirloom weapon of a legendary hero. The weapon isn't found gleaming and powerful. It's rusty, hidden away in an old barn or a forgotten chest, maybe even needing restoration.
It's a simple fetch quest, perhaps retrieving it from pests or minor creatures, but its recovery might inspire a demoralized local militia, mark the PC as a potential successor to the hero's legacy, or contain a hidden clue or power that only activates for them.
Burning infected crops to halt the spread of an enchanted blight. Sounds mundane, right? But the blight isn't natural, it's magical, spreading slowly but inexorably across the farmlands, tied to a greater necromantic or corrupting threat.
Stopping it at the source, even just burning a few fields, is crucial to preventing widespread famine and decay across the region. Suddenly very important farm work.
Cleansing a corrupted spring that feeds a kingdom's main river. A simple find the source of the pollution quest turns magical. The corruption isn't mundane garbage. It's caused by a fey creature angered by industrialization, a minor demon leaching energy into the water, or a curse placed upon the land.
Cleansing this single spring impacts everyone downstream, from villages to major cities, local action, global consequence.
Pursuing bandits who are actually pawns in a political conspiracy. What starts as a simple highway chase to recover stolen goods reveals hidden loyalties, coded messages, and ties the bandits not to common crime, but to a power struggle in the capital or a shadowy organization seeking control.
Saving the last sacred beast of a dying lineage. Protecting a rare, perhaps seemingly ordinary animal from poachers, disease, or natural predators. This animal isn't just a creature. It's tied to an ancient prophecy, a natural balance, a powerful spirit, or its very existence holds back a localized curse or danger.
Discovering the true purpose behind an ancient festival. Participating in a local annual event that seems like just a celebration, perhaps helping with preparations or resolving minor disputes.
But uncovering old lore or symbols reveals it's forgotten. Crucial meaning. Maybe it's a ritual that has been warding off an ancient evil for centuries, and something is interfering with its magic this year, making the PC's role in it suddenly vital.
And escorting refugees who carry hidden knowledge of an impending disaster. Protecting a seemingly helpless group fleeing a local conflict or natural disaster. But one of them holds vital information, a map to safety, a message for help, a prophecy fragment nobody else understands.
That could avert a larger crisis if delivered. Their protection isn't just humanitarian, it's strategic.
These examples paint such a vivid picture of how players, even at level 1, can gradually see the growing shadows and the heightening stakes unfolding around them.
Yeah, it's not dumped on them, it emerges.
And by successfully navigating these situations and becoming local legends through their bravery and choices, they naturally set themselves up for bigger responsibilities and challenges as the campaign progresses. It's such a clever way to make their initial actions feel deeply, inherently meaningful.
That feeling of significance is amplified even further when you connect these emerging epic threads to the characters' personal histories and motivations. The article puts a strong emphasis on personal stakes and epic consequences.
Right, this is where it gets really good.
This is where the emotional gravity becomes truly intense because it directly impacts the characters as individuals.
PCs aren't just generic stat blocks walking through the world. They have backstories, families, debts, fears, and things they care deeply about. Connecting the quests, the emerging mythic elements, and the subtle villain influences to these personal elements stirs something profound in the players.
The source talks about this collision of personal history with mythic futures as a potent source of drama, twisting the party's individual motivations together, finding ways their backstories intersect with the burgeoning epic narrative, deepens immersion and raises the stakes dramatically.
A rescue mission isn't just about saving a generic NPC quest giver, it's rescuing a sibling who vanished into a rumored cursed ruin years ago. The risk isn't abstract, it's deeply personal, visceral.
Exactly. Let's look at the source's list of personal epic quest hooks and brainstorm how they translate to low-level play. Rescuing a sibling vanished into a cursed ruin.
Okay, level 1-3, how does that play out?
At levels 1-3, the ruin might be relatively small, only a few rooms deep, populated by low-level undead or strange creatures. But why is it cursed? What happened to the sibling? That unresolved personal mystery provides the driving force, making even a short dungeon crawl feel intensely significant because it's about a loved one.
Or being chosen by a sentient, enigmatic relic that only responds to the PC's bloodline.
Ooh, cool. At low levels, this relic won't grant devastating power. Maybe just hums faintly when a specific threat related to their lineage is nearby, points towards a hidden location when the PC thinks of their family history, or shows fragmented, cryptic images in a dream.
The epicness is in the connection, the mystery, and what the relic demands of the PC. Perhaps a small act of ritual only they can perform, or a promise tied to their ancestral oath.
Yeah, exactly. That's brilliant. It feels epic because of the weight of history and destiny, not just combat power. Defending their ancestral land from disguised divine wrath.
How does the PC's connection make them uniquely able to resist or understand this?
Perhaps they carry a blessing or curse tied to the land itself, possess a piece of ancient knowledge passed down through generations, or their ancestors made a pact with a spirit or deity that is now being tested. Makes them special in that context.
Proving worth to a forgotten ancestor spirit craving redemption. How does the spirit communicate with a low-level character?
Through dreams, strange whispers on the wind when the PC's alone, or inhabiting a small, seemingly insignificant object like a locket or carving. What trials does it require? Not necessarily fighting mighty foes.
Right, maybe performing a specific ritual only the PC can complete, finding a lost item the ancestor valued, or righting a small wrong their ancestor committed that still impacts the local area today. Personal atonement.
Saving a friend accused of a crime that has mysterious magical evidence. The PC's personal bond with their friend drives the investigation. To clear their friend's name, the PC needs to understand the magic involved.
Maybe identifying a strange magical residue, finding a hidden enchanted symbol, or tracking down a specific type of magical energy signature, all scaled to their level.
The stakes are deeply personal. Their friend's freedom, perhaps their life, and the challenge is investigative and magical, tailored to what a low-level character can achieve.
Unraveling the fate of a parent who vanished during a historic catastrophe. This is a cold trail requiring detective work suitable for low levels, finding old journals in a dusty attic.
Following fragmented clues found in ancient town records, interviewing elderly witnesses who remember the event, exploring locations related to the catastrophe. It starts small, a hidden letter, a strange map fragment, but leads to bigger secrets tied to the event itself and potentially connecting to a major campaign villain who was involved.
Breaking an ancestral pact that threatens the family's future. Discovering the existence of the pact, perhaps a faded document in an old chest, or a family curse that seems to follow them.
What are its immediate low-level consequences? Minor curses affecting their skills, strange bad luck constantly befalling the family, or unsettling demands arriving from an unknown entity or spirit tied to the pact. The PC must find a way to address this ancient agreement with their current means.
Receiving a prophetic dream tied to their greatest fear. How does the dream hint at future events while playing on personal fears?
Through symbolism, fragmented scenes, or familiar locations twisted in unsettling ways. It connects the character's internal struggles and fears to the unfolding external narrative, making the threat deeply psychological and personal from the outset.
Being the only one who can lift a deadly curse afflicting their village. Why only them?
Perhaps a drop of their blood is needed for a specific ritual. They unknowingly carry an item that resonates with the curse, or their unique class, race, or background makes them the key. What is the curse's low-level effect? Crops failing mysteriously, minor but persistent illnesses among villagers, strange behavior among livestock.
Localized areas of decay or unnatural gloom. The PC's personal connection makes them the village's sole hope. Heavy stuff.
Protecting a former mentor fleeing inexplicable persecution. The mentor is likely weak, injured, or magically suppressed at low levels, forcing the PC to step up and use their limited abilities to protect someone they look up to, perhaps guiding them to a safe haven or uncovering the source of the persecution.
Uncovering forgotten ties to an ancient order lost to legend. Finding a hidden symbol on an old family heirloom. Meeting a contact who knew their parent or mentor and reveals a connection to this order.
Discovering a hidden compartment containing membership tokens or cryptic messages, little breadcrumbs.
Recovering proof of their family's involvement in a disputed lineage. Finding a hidden letter, a historical document, or a specific object that proves a connection to a noble house, a historical event, or a position of power, giving the family, and thus the PC, unexpected claims, privileges, or enemies.
Restoring a sacred artifact stolen from their home's temple. This could be a seemingly simple fetch quest to retrieve a small personal item, a chalice, a holy symbol, a devotional text that was stolen from the temple the PC grew up in. But it turns out the item has greater significance.
To the faith, the community, or even the wider world than anyone realized, the article is so right. The whispers of destiny, the pull of epic events, are far more powerful when characters have a deeply personal reason to listen and engage.
Yeah, encouraging players to build meaningful backstories and finding ways to weave those backstories into the main narrative, celebrating their unique motivations, makes these personal stakes incredibly resonant.
The epic isn't something only found by traveling to distant lands. It's already inside the players themselves, in their history and connections. The DM's role is to help draw that out and show how it intertwines with the larger emerging narrative.
Absolutely. And you can create that deep, ancient feeling, that mythic depth, even on a small budget of low-level threats, by focusing on mythic atmosphere.
Ah, the vibe.
You don't need to describe world-shattering events every session, but you can make the world itself feel steeped in mystery, wonder, and ancient power.
It's about creating a palpable mood and mystery through environment and subtle details. A strange smell in the air, an unusual silence in the woods, a recurring symbol seen in unexpected places.
These small things inject that mythic vibe without needing a high-level monster lurking around every corner. Let's look at the source's list of elements that inject mythic atmosphere and discuss how to use them effectively at low levels.
Okay, crumbling altars to silent gods. Finding one during a simple exploration of a nearby ruin, a hidden cave, or even just off a neglected path in the woods.
What's left on the altar? A strange, non-magical offering. A half-erased symbol that seems ancient. It poses questions and hints at forgotten history without needing a powerful guardian monster. Just mood.
Celestial alignments visible in the night sky, simply describing the sky vividly. Pointing out a strange configuration of stars, noting how a particular constellation seems unusually bright, perhaps hinting that it aligns with a significant event they just experienced or are about to.
It makes the cosmos feel vast and subtly involved in their local reality. Sentient statues that respond only at midnight, a local landmark, perhaps a statue in the town square, or a carving on an old bridge that seems inert during the day.
But at midnight, its eyes seem to follow them. It subtly changes position or whispers a single cryptic word on the wind. It's not an enemy encounter, it's an enigma, a piece of living mystery. Creepy.
Recurring prophetic dreams. One or more PCs starts having the same strange, symbolic dream over and over. It doesn't make immediate sense, perhaps featuring fragmented images, unsettling sounds, or figures they don't recognize.
It creates a sense of unease, foreshadowing, and mystery centered on the character's subconscious. Eerie animal behavior during key events.
Birds suddenly falling silent when the villain's agent passes nearby. All the animals in a forest fleeing silently before a localized magical event occurs. A specific type of animal acting strangely, like crows gathering in huge numbers, whenever a specific threat is mentioned. Nature reacting to unseen forces creates a powerful atmosphere.
Chimeric flora blooming in hidden glades. Strange plants that seem to defy natural laws, glowing moss. Flowers that bloom only in moonlight. Trees with unnaturally colored leaves found in an otherwise normal forest or hidden valley.
They aren't dangerous, but they are wondrous and mysterious, hinting at forgotten magic or strange influences. Mysterious languages only one PC can decipher.
Finding an inscription on a monument, a strange text in a dusty book, or a message woven into an ancient tapestry that only a character with a specific background, skill, or heritage can read. It makes that player feel uniquely important and skilled, and adds layers of hidden meaning to the world.
Rivers that sing with disembodied voices. Standing near a specific river or waterfall, the PCs hear faint, disembodied voices carried on the sound of the water. How does it feel? Is it beautiful and haunting, whispering fragments of lost memories or ancient songs?
Or is it creepy and unsettling, whispering warnings or temptations? Adds so much flavor.
Markings that shift or spark at the party's arrival. An old signpost, a carving on a tree, symbols etched into a dungeon wall, or even markings on a map that subtly change color, glow faintly, or rearrange themselves when the PCs approach or interact with them.
It makes the environment feel responsive and aware of their presence. Sudden weather changes with symbolic meaning. A localized, unnatural fog appearing during a stealth mission, making things harder but also more mysterious and atmospheric.
Rain turning briefly to blood or ash during a combat encounter, highlighting the dark, unnatural nature of the enemy. A sudden gust of wind carrying strange whispers.
NPCs who claim to have met the party in a past life. A strange, perhaps seemingly insane beggar, a wise old hermit, or a mystical figure encountered briefly speaks to a character as if they've known them for centuries, referencing events the character doesn't remember.
It raises questions about reincarnation, destiny, or hidden histories. Wild stuff.
Relics that glow with a pulse matching a PC's heartbeat. Finding a simple, unassuming object like a smooth stone, a piece of wood, or a simple amulet that only reacts glowing faintly, becoming warm, vibrating subtly when one specific character is near, perhaps leading them somewhere or revealing a hidden connection.
Children who deliver important prophecies unknowingly. A child in the village starts repeating strange, ancient words they don't understand, perhaps echoing something they heard from an unseen source or repeating fragments of a prophecy they couldn't possibly know.
Innocence becomes a conduit for destiny. That's cool. Lights or visions glimpsed in reflective surfaces.
Seeing something briefly in a pool of water, a mirror, a polished shield, or even a dewdrop. A fleeting vision of a future event, a hidden object, or a distant entity observing them. Just a flash.
And songs or poems that foretell the party's arrival. A local bard starts singing a seemingly traditional song during a festival or in a tavern that sounds eerily familiar, describing the PC's recent actions or even their appearance.
It makes them feel like they are already becoming part of the local folklore and legend. Using these elements allows DMs to provide tantalizing hints, giving away just enough detail to fuel wonder, as the article says.
You don't need to reveal the grand cosmic truth immediately, just hint at it. Create mystery and keep the major reveals for later when the players have earned them. This subtle world building encourages players to explore, question, and feel the ancient layers beneath the surface of the everyday.
So how do you take all these fantastic elements, the emotional stakes, long-term impact, personal hooks, and atmospheric details, and weave them into a cohesive narrative arc that feels epic from level 1?
Yeah, the structure.
The article offers practical advice on structuring a low-level epic campaign arc. It requires, as Ajay notes, ambition and patience from the DM.
Yes, it's about using phases, layering secrets, rivalries, and mysteries gradually over time. Foreshadowing, the article says, is the greatest tool.
Introduce hints of the main plots early, maybe just fleeting glimpses, and reveal their true import much later when the players have the context to understand. You organize the campaign into acts, each with central conflicts that escalate, but where the roots of later acts are firmly planted in the earlier ones.
The source provides a brilliant template table for a campaign arc blueprint, showing how it can progress from initial low-level quests to higher-level challenges while maintaining that epic feeling throughout. Let's break down the suggested early acts.
Okay. Act 1 is titled Embers of Destiny, typically covering level range, 1 to 2. The central conflict is: the PC's starting village is threatened by unknown omens or minor localized disturbances.
The climax of this act is: the PCs save, or tragically fail to save, a key local relic or person that holds symbolic or actual importance to the community. The focus here is crucial. Introduce the core types of threats, even if minor. Make the players feel like they are making an immediate difference locally.
Establish key NPCs they care about, and hint at mysteries beyond the immediate problem, laying the groundwork.
Act 2 is the hidden hand, for level range. 2-3. The central conflict shifts to: the PCs discover the influence of a secret society or shadowy faction operating in the region.
The climax: an ally they've come to trust betrays them or reveals a hidden, perhaps conflicting allegiance. Ouch.
Yeah, that always stings. The focus here is expanding the scope beyond the single village, introducing recurring antagonists who are agents of a larger force, and establishing that not everyone is who they seem, deepening the sense of conspiracy.
Act 3 is Shadows Gather, covering level range.
Yeah.
3 to 4. The central conflict escalates. Supernatural incidents, strange monster appearances, or unsettling phenomena tied to the mysterious forces from Act 2 of 4 become more frequent and intense across the region.
The climax: the PCs managed to save the immediate area or a town from a significant threat, but it becomes clear that this was just a symptom, and a much larger, more powerful threat is clearly emerging from the background, showing its face or its influence more directly.
The focus is raising the stakes significantly, making the scale of the true danger apparent, and showing the players that the problems aren't isolated incidents. Things are connected.
Act 4 is Chains of Prophecy, for level range. 4 to 5. The central conflict: the PC's personal destinies or actions become directly entwined with an ancient vision, prophecy, or curse that was hinted at earlier.
The climax: a key element to the prophecy is partially fulfilled through the PC's actions or choices, perhaps unlocking a new path or sealing another. The focus here is connecting the PCs directly to the larger narrative destiny, making their personal states undeniably clear within the context of the emerging epic plot.
Act 5 is the Lion's Gambit, covering level range. 5 to 6. The central conflict broadens further. Regional power struggles, political intrigue, or conflicts between major factions come to the forefront, influenced by the earlier events the PCs were involved in.
The climax:
Yeah.
the PC's actions sway a critical alliance, prevent a war, or expose a major player in the political landscape. The focus is showing the PCs impacting the wider world beyond the starting area, navigating complex social and political landscapes that are now feeling the ripples of their earlier actions.
The article then outlines later acts as the campaign progresses to higher levels, but the crucial takeaway is that the foundation for all those later high-level challenges and world-saving events is carefully laid and nurtured within these early levels.
The choices made, the allies gained, the enemies made, and the mysteries uncovered in Embers of Destiny and the Hidden Hand directly resonate and fuel the conflicts in Shadows Gather and beyond. It all builds.
It's about using significant milestones for each act's climax and interspersing those tense moments with opportunities for reflection, downtime, or celebration so players can process what's happening and build their connection to the world.
Yeah, I gotta let them breathe sometimes. The emotional and mythic themes established in these early decisions and events don't disappear. They reverberate throughout the entire campaign.
Now, with all these ideas for layering depth, mystery, and consequence into low-level play, there's a valid concern overwhelming the DM and the players.
Oh, definitely. It's easy to get carried away. The article wisely includes a section on avoiding overwhelm and burnout.
That's important. Trying to make everything epic can lead to a tangled mess if you're not careful. Ajay provides excellent tips to avoid this trap.
First, and simplest, limit active factions or villains initially. Introduce them gradually. You might hint at the Dragon Cult, the Secret Society, and the Demon Lord's influence in Act 1. But only one of them should be the primary antagonist the PCs are directly dealing with in levels 1-2.
Right, keep the focus tight early on. Others remain background threats. Use clear personal stakes. While the implications might be grand, the immediate motivation should be relatable. Save my brother, protect our home, clear my name.
These clear personal stakes ground the players and give them a focused objective amidst the potential complexity. Present information in small, digestible pieces. Don't dump a 10-page history of the prophecy on them at level 2.
Yeah, no lore dumps. Give them a single cryptic line, a symbol, a strange encounter. Let them uncover the meaning bit by bit.
Focus on one main quest plus a few side mysteries at a time. Avoid presenting 10 equally urgent, complex problems simultaneously. Have a primary driver for the current arc and sprinkle in hints of other things to pique curiosity, but don't demand they solve everything at once.
Introduce lore organically through dialogue and discovery, not lore dumps. Characters they talk to, books they find, places they explore, visions they have. These are how they should learn about the world's history and the larger threats.
Not via the DM narrating several paragraphs of exposition. Show, don't just tell. Offer downtime and social scenes.
Super important. Not every session has to be high tension. Allow players time to interact with NPCs they care about, explore the town, pursue personal goals, or simply rest and recover. This prevents burnout and deepens their connection to the world and its people.
Provide visual aids or handouts for mysteries. Maps, symbols, cryptic letters, NPC portraits, prophecy fragments. These help players remember key details and give them something tangible to discuss and puzzle over.
Avoid switching settings or themes too rapidly. Let the players become invested in a region and its people before whisking them away to a completely different environment with a new set of problems. This helps build that sense of rooting their early actions in a specific place.
Encourage player journals or recaps. Ask players to summarize the previous session at the start of the next. This helps reinforce what happened, solidify plot points, and keeps everyone on the same page with the unfolding narrative. Plus, it shows you what they thought was important.
Good point. Designate an NPC guide for occasional info. This isn't a DMPC, Dungeon Master player character who solves problems for them, but maybe a wise elder, a quirky librarian, a mysterious contact who can occasionally provide a gentle nudge, interpret a clue, or answer a question that might otherwise leave the party stuck.
Make moral choices understandable and relatable. Even if the context is epic, the core dilemma should be something the players can grasp at their level. Saving one group versus another, trusting a suspicious character, deciding whether the ends justify the means in a specific situation.
Let PCs succeed at small goals to build confidence. Ensure they feel competent and capable in their early adventures. This encourages them to tackle larger challenges later. Give them some wins.
And finally, adapt pacing to the group. Some groups love intricate mysteries. Others prefer more straightforward action with strong character moments. Gauge your players' preferences and adjust the complexity and pace accordingly. Know your audience.
Ajay's point is that keeping the design simple allows the epic themes to shine through. Focus on the emotional core, the clear stakes, and the personal relevance. That's what makes it resonate, even without needing to understand complex cosmic forces right away.
It strips away unnecessary complexity to highlight what truly matters for an epic story. Compelling characters facing meaningful challenges.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, whether you're a DM building worlds or a player stepping into one? The main takeaway is abundantly clear. Epicness in D&D isn't some destination you reach after slogging through low levels.
Nope.
It's not solely about acquiring the highest level spells or hitting the biggest monsters. It's about courage in the face of adversity, about navigating challenging moral and emotional stakes, about feeling that what you do matters deeply, and about the foundation you lay in those crucial, formative early adventures.
Low-level PCs are not just disposable adventurers or powerless nobodies waiting for their turn on the main stage. They are, right from the start, unsung heroes on the verge of greatness, as the article beautifully puts it.
I like that.
They are already shaping destinies with their first steps, their first difficult choices, their first acts of bravery.
So DMs, embrace the power of cinematic storytelling at your table. Nurture that mythic depth with subtle details, atmospheric cues, and tantalizing hints. And most importantly, reward player ingenuity, bravery, and thoughtful role-playing, not just with gold or XP.
Right, give them something more meaningful.
But with story consequences that show the world reacting to their deeds. Let them see the ripples.
The campaign's heart, its epic soul, starts beating the very moment the party steps out of that tavern, ready for their first adventure. Build that legend now at level 1. That's the powerful, inspiring message here.
It fundamentally shifts the perspective, doesn't it? From waiting for the epic to discovering the epic that is already present in the world and the characters, waiting to be unveiled by their actions.
Absolutely. It encourages a more character-driven, narrative-focused approach right from the very beginning, one that prioritizes player investment and meaningful choices over just escalating the mechanical challenge.
Well, that was a truly insightful deep dive into crafting legendary adventures right from the earliest levels of D&D. Thank you for joining us for this exploration. It's certainly given me a lot to think about for my own games.
It was a pleasure. This article by Ajay Patel provides such a practical yet inspiring toolkit for any DM looking to make their campaigns feel significant and memorable from the very first session.
A big shout out once again to LitRPG Reads and the author, Ajay Patel, for this fantastic article, and also to Paul Bello, the fine fellow who created LitRPG Reads. Seriously worth checking out if you're looking for more great ideas and resources for your tabletop games.
Their resources are excellent for sparking creativity and providing solid frameworks. Definitely check them out.
And we would absolutely love to hear from you. What are your favorite low-level epic moments from games you've played or run? What quest ideas have you used or encountered that felt legendary, even when the characters were just starting out?
Yeah, tell us your stories.
Share your strategies, your stories, your triumphs, and your failures in making those early levels count in the comments or wherever you interact with the show. Let's keep building those legends together.
Until next time, may your dice roll well, may your players invest deeply, and may your low-level adventures be truly undeniably epic.